Hi there, you little lovelies. So today I'm going to do a part one of a June book haul, and I got these the very beginning of June, which was about around 2 weeks, a week and a half ago. So I guess I'm planning on going to Barnes & Noble later this month, and so I know I'm going to have more books to show you, but I'm very anxious to show you the ones I already have, so I thought I'd do a part one and part two during this month, and so this will be obviously part one. If you saw my book haul back in May with my friend Amy, you know that I recently have found a bookstore that sells books for like $1. And it's amazing and I want to live there, so I've gone twice already. The first time I got, I think, 7 books, this time I got 10. So I'll just show you those now. So I got this Robert Frost book of poems, which I really like. I've read a couple of these, and I didn't realize at the time that this was a poem book that also has commentary in it, so it's very helpful because it always, if I'm confused, it'll clarify, like, this is what that is. So this is really neat, and I've said that already, I've read several of these, and I like to keep it by my bed just before bed, so I can just devour some poetry to make myself seem civilized. I got yet another poetry book, and this one's a tiny little book filled with a couple different poems and these really artistic watercolor looking pictures, and literally the reason I got this is because it's called How Do I Love Thee, because that's the first poem in this book. It's How Do I Love Thee by Elizabeth Browning, and if you've read Delirium, you know why I would have bought this. So Alex Sheed's You Will Be the Death of Me. So again, I haven't read this one yet, but I do really, it's really short. I think I'm just gonna sit down one day while it's raining and just have myself a little bit of cultured poems. Next is something I didn't know even existed. It is a collection of new voices, which are tons of little tiny pieces that were edited by Stephen Chbosky. So it just looks like this, and on the inside it has the same font as Perks, and it looks like Perks, so I thought this was really neat because I knew Stephen Chbosky only had one book out, so I found this and was just, wow. And this was in a section that I typically wouldn't look at, so I'm glad I did, but pretty much it's a bunch of little short stories that were obviously put together with Stephen Chbosky. So again, this sounds like it's going to be really neat because I love Stephen Chbosky, and am I even pronouncing that right? That's like the 5th time I've said it, and if I'm still pronouncing it wrong, wow, that would be embarrassing. So I popped in the little classics section because my friend was looking for a copy of Gatsby at the time, but instead I found this copy of Wuthering Heights, and I'm not gonna lie, this is Bella's favorite book in Twilight, and ever since then I've been really interested in reading this. So for about 4 years I've known about this book, but I knew it was a little bit above my level back when I was like 10 or 12. So I finally have it and I really want to read it. I don't know. I'm not even completely sure what it's about, but it was like 75 cents, so why not? Then I got 2 Jodi Picoult books, which are 19 Minutes and My Sister's Keeper. This is a movie cover, and I have been debating. I stood there for like 5 minutes like, do I want the movie cover? But it was $1.25. I'm not gonna be able to find this book for a better price than that, so I figured sacrifices every once in a while won't hurt. And I heard this was really good by a girl who did a book report on it in my English class. So definitely interested in both of these, and I've finally gotten my hands on more Jodi Picoult books because at this point I only have Lone Wolf, but I have yet to read it, so hopefully she won't let me down. I think the only reason I'm interested in reading her books is because she has that one little tiny review on the cover of The Fault in Our Stars. So I don't know, if you're a fan of Jodi Picoult, let me know, because I really wish I'll enjoy her books, but I haven't even read any of them yet, so I can't say I haven't enjoyed them, but yes, do let me know if these were any of your favorites. The next book is something I got at like the last minute, kind of, and it is The Invisible, and this says on the cover, now a major motion picture, and it's really small, so I was like, okay, it's a movie and it's tiny, it might not be that bad, so I got it. It sounds really interesting. As far as I know, it's about a guy who goes to school and no one can see or hear him, so he's practically, well, he is invisible, so I just thought it sounded really neat. but I've never heard of this author, I've never heard of this book, so if you know who or what this is, let me know if you've read it and let me know if you liked it, but I thought it just sounded really interesting. The next book is Peak, and I've heard a couple things about this, but not too much, and again I saw this and just, it was $1.25, why not? So this sounds interesting. I believe it's something about climbing Mount Everest, which sounded kind of interesting because I haven't read anything kind of like that, so I hope this will be good. It's again quite short, so I assume I'll be able to tackle this really easily, hopefully this summer perhaps. I don't know. Should I read this during the winter because it's Everest and really cold? This next book is actually a really funny story because my friend was telling me, like, you have to read The Help. It is so good, and not 30 seconds later I looked up and saw it on the shelf, so that was really awesome. So I really wanted to read this. I believe I read like the first 2 chapters on my phone or something because my Kindle app gave me a preview, so I finally have it. Haven't seen the movie, haven't read the... whoa. Convulsive hiccup. Haven't read the movie, haven't seen the book. And just really excited to finally get into this because I know people say it's really good. My friend was really enthusiastic about it, so I hope he doesn't let me down. The last book is somewhat of a joke, but there were 3 copies of it at the store and we both, my friend and I, just had to get it because it just sounded so funny. It's the Sweet Potato Queen's Book of Love, and I know this is not something I would typically read, but there were 3 copies and we were like, okay, even if we're not gonna have any enjoyment out of this, I mean, look at the cover, that's just hilarious. And we looked this up on Goodreads and apparently it's a humor novel. I don't know too much about it, to be completely honest. We just got it on a whim because it was so cheap, and I don't know why I got this now that I look back at it, but hopefully it'll be somewhat entertaining. I think we're gonna read it together just to have a good laugh. But yeah, if you... I'm not even gonna ask what you guys thought about this if you've read it. It just... that's so weird. Why did we do this? I didn't have time to film an unboxing videos for these next 2, but I received more books in the mail from giveaways. The first one is a novella called The Island, and I've already started this. It's a really neat concept. It's a dystopian novel, and it's about how 10-year-olds basically have to move out from their parents whenever they reach that age and kind of live on their own. I don't know that many details, so maybe that's not perhaps the best definition, but it sounds really neat so far. It's super interesting so far, and this author seems like she's really awesome. So if you haven't heard of this, go check it out. I think a lot of you might like it. The next is the second book in a series that I must catch up on now, and it is This Side of Jealousy. As I said, second book in a series. This series sounds really awesome, so I have to go get the first one before I can read this one, because this one's an ARC copy, but it says not for sale, coming out June 2013, so it's probably already out right now. If not, it's gonna be another week or 2. So again, I love this cover. I don't even know why. It's so arctic. Antique. I don't know too much about this, so I probably shouldn't say any more, but I am excited about starting the series. Lastly, I went to Walmart the other day and was just browsing the books because that's what I do every time, and I just walked like a normal human being does, and this was on the shelf by itself alone, and the price tag said $15.29, and underneath that it said, "Whitney, buy me," and so I was like, yes, master. And I finally have Prodigy, and I started this the other night but then ended up putting it down because I need to wait to read this because it's not on my DVR. But I did, however, be able to get a glimpse at the map in the beginning of this. I don't have words for how much I enjoy that. It's so cool. Do you see the ocean? It's like... I'm not fangirling. I just noticed something. In Legend, Day's words are in yellow and now they're in blue. What? Usually, I've said this already, I'm not the biggest fan of weird fonts, but 1010 would recommend. I don't even care if the plot sucks. This 5 stars. You go. On that exciting note, I think I'll end this video. Definitely look out for part 2 because that should be coming within a couple weeks. And I will see you next time, hopefully. Goodbye. Mwah.